Hi Bio4 and welcome to the lab section of the heart. So we're going to be going down those structures that you have that are bulleted. I would suggest that you pull out that list and have it in front of you so that you can go down systematically with me and learn these structures. So we start out by looking at the heart externally like this, and your first structure is the base and the apex. So sometimes not completely intuitive, but the base is always the broader end of the organ. So in this case, the base is superior and the apex is a narrower section, and that is inferior. So base and apex of the heart. Next we have the right and the left atria, singular atrium. And the anterior interventricular sulcus. So between the ventricles is the interventricular sulcus, which would be right here, or also called the longitudinal sulcus. It's going to divide the right from the left ventricles. Okay, that is for the chambers. Now we want to look at the vessels, and the most anterior vessel that you have here is the pulmonary trunk. And remember that the pulmonary trunk is the section that is a trunk to both branches. So once it branches here, now it's going to be the left pulmonary artery and the right pulmonary artery. It's going to divide into that, but as it is here, it is the pulmonary trunk. This other very large vessel is, of course, the aorta. And coming off the aorta is here I'm going to put a B for it, the brachiocephalic artery. If it's brachiocephalic, it means it goes to the brachia, to the arms, and cephalic to the head. So that's how you're going to remember those, going up to the arms and to the head. And this is the aortic arch. Next would have the superior and the inferior vena cava. So we're just going to put VC, and they're both emptying into the right atrium. Superior and inferior vena cava. And last we have the pulmonary veins. So coming in here, returning from the lung are the pulmonary veins. And remember that by definition, if it's arriving, it's a vein. If it's leaving, it's an artery. And the coloration doesn't always match what you imagine, because you imagine that it's coming oxygenated from the lung and instead it's looking blue. It doesn't matter. Like the convention is, if it's arriving at the heart, then it's going to be a vein. So these are the pulmonary veins. Good. That leaves us then with needing to look at the internal structures. So let's go there. This is the posterior part of the heart. It's nice for you to see how the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava really meet up. The inferior vena cava is just coming from lower body, superior is coming from higher body, and they're all going to end up in the same place, in the right atrium. All right, interior. First thing I'd like to show you is the myocardium. Myo meaning muscle, cardium heart. So it's the actual muscle of the heart. That's the myocardium. And then we'll distinguish it from the epicardium and the endocardium. So epicardium will be this outside layer, and endocardium, if I could draw it again, would be this innermost layer there. Endo, inside, epi, surrounding. It's also called a visceral epicardium. Visceral pericardium, or epicardium. I'm going to be able to show you more on this. Let me show you here. Again, we're taking a section here of the ventricle, and if you were to expand that, you'd see that this is the parietal pericardium, and the visceral pericardium, which is more attached onto the muscle itself. The muscle is called the myocardium, and then the innermost lining is the endocardium. So this is a very nice drawing of that. So make a note of all these structures. Okay, beyond that, we want to notice the valves. So on our list, we start out with a pulmonary semilunar valve. Pulmonary semilunar valve is right here. It's the valve as you exit the right ventricle. You don't want blood to flow back down again, so blood can come up between them, but it cannot go that way, and it's going to be able to, hit here and go right back up again and not descend. That is the pulmonary semilunar. The tricuspid valve is here. Tricuspid, it's going to have 3 cusps, not really visible here. You can see the heartstrings or the chordae tendini or tendinous cords that are anchoring this flap down so that it doesn't evert. And further anchoring is a muscle that's going to hold it down into the depths of the ventricle there. And that muscle, or those muscles, are called the papillary muscles. On the other side, you can see the papillary muscle here, another papillary muscle here, and the chordae tendini also. The difference is that on this side, it's the bicuspid or the mitral. Try before you buy. We also want to look at the inside lining here, and this orientation of muscles is not smooth. It's sort of got its little caves and indentations, and that is called the trabeculae. We saw that word before in bone, trabeculae carni. So it is this sort of unsmooth, grainy section of the inside of the heart, or the trabeculae carni. Another, in the atria also, let me go there first. Inside the atria is a different kind of arrangement of these muscles here, and that's called the pectinate muscles. Pectinate, it looks kind of like tree roots to me, and this is found in the atria only. So let me backtrack again. You have the pectinate muscles that should be compared with the papillary. So papillary are these, and pectinate are in the atria. The last thing that you need to look at is the last semilunar valve here, which is the aortic semilunar valve. So you're only seeing a piece of it here. You're seeing those little half moons. Semilunar meaning half moon. I have a couple more slides for you to see what they look like. So in the atrioventricular valves, the tricuspid is going to have 3 cusps. Notice an anterior, a posterior, and this is called the septal. So you have a third. That's a tricuspid on the right. Oh gosh. Right atrioventricular valve. And here's the bicuspid on the left, and that means it only has 1 and 2 cusps. Okay, a few more pictures of semilunar valves. See how easy it is to imagine that blood can shoot up like this, but it cannot come down. It ends up in this little pocket, and we'll have to just move right back up again. This is to remind you that you need to know the direction of the blood flow, what chambers it enters, what valves it goes past, and what vessels it goes through. And you need to know that. There will be quite a few questions on that for you. This is aortic arch again with the brachiocephalic. And then I just wanted to introduce this to you. You'll see this later when we look at more vessels, in that aortic arch is going to actually come down into the abdomen. And when it comes into the abdomen, it will be called the abdominal aorta, and it will branch off to many different organs, irrigating them. That's what it has to do. It's the major hose that irrigates all the organs in the abdomen. And that's what our preserved hearts look like that we dissect in lab. So I will backtrack and finish on this one. And thank you for coming. Take care. Bye-bye.